The Benedictine monastery, founded in 529 AD, overlooked the township of Cassino. It was thought to contain German snipers. In one of the most remembered but also futile decisions of the Italian campaign, this sacred place of God was delivered of 600 tons of high explosives. Before their attack on the Cassino railway station, the Maori soldiers of A and B companies gathered together in the warm dusk of a beautiful day. They attended to personal matters. Some wrote letters, while others cleared their pockets in case of capture. When the Padre arrived, there was a feeling amongst the two companies that this battle was going to be tough. They were not to know that of 200 men, only 70 would return to fight again. The Padre called them to prayer and said, "Father, look down upon us this moment. Help us to do that which we have to do. Tonight, take those that you want. Tomorrow, let us weep those that are left. Through thy Son, Jesus Christ, let us go on." The drive to push back the enemy continued through a grim Italian winter. The Germans were stubborn in resistance, and the final battles were a cataclysm of bombardment and hand-to-hand combat. War in Europe for the Maori Battalion ended in Trieste. It was now time to reflect on their contribution to victory.
They asked the government with the thought that we should be like the other battalions, the people who have already proved themselves, and that, of course, are the Europeans in New Zealand. And when the war was over, I felt so proud of our battalion because we achieved the wants of our elders through the deeds of the Maori Battalion. And all I can say is that I'm quite proud to have been a member of such a battalion.
On the 23rd of January 1946, the Maori Battalion arrived home in Wellington, preceded by their reputation as enthusiastic and fearless warriors, also known for their humor and fellowship. They carried with them the guilts and horrors of their war, but a pride too for having taken a full part in the struggle for New Zealand's future. The camaraderie they had forged would endure over all the years and outlive many of them. But now, it was a time for their families.
Well, my daughter was born while I was overseas, and when I came back, she was nearly 4 years old. And I met her at the wharf in Wellington, and I stood and looked at her, and I called out to her, and she got a bit shy. She stuck her finger up to her mouth like that, and the mother said to her, "Go and say hello to Daddy." I called her, and she rushed over to me and gave me a hug, and she said, "You've been a long time," she said. I said, "I know."
Individual tribes welcomed their remaining sons home. They returned victorious children of the god of war. In the relief of celebration, the Maori grieved for the loss of so many men. They grieved too for their grandchildren, for in the coming peace, they would not know the influence of the lost leaders who could have passed on the traditions and disciplines of their culture.
What it means to me, those fellas I have buried, never will I forget them. It makes me extra thankful and grateful that God has spared me to to bury them and remind me of the fellowship we had. I'm really, in my heart, never will I forget to thank them for giving me the chance to live.
Those who perished for Crete lie in the Suda Bay Cemetery, including Don Stewart's brother Horton, who was shot less than 2 miles away. The First World War had occurred in an age when it was considered inappropriate for coloured races to be fighting with or against white people. Maori involvement was accordingly restricted. In the Second World War, however, they were treated as equals and became a vital part of the cutting edge of Allied efforts to repel the Nazis. In 1943, Sir Apira Nangata wrote that the assets of the Maori in war ought to be equally recognized as assets in peace, and that his people's sacrifice was the highest price of citizenship.
It's half a century since Horton and I said farewell to each other at the outbreak of war. Then my mind reverts back to pre-war, when Horton was such a vital person. When he was killed so early in the peace, it really devastated the family. I would like to say to Horton that I'd love him to have been with me in life over the last 50 years, to have lived his life through, because there's no telling what he may have been. Horton.
Ko wai ka katou Te aroha pu mau tonu Aha kua te iti noa Pirikau mai anō
Well, it's just that I feel honoured and thankful, I suppose, to the Lord for being a member of that group, the 28th Maori Battalion.
Kakapato